Hello Knockouts, Tanya TKO here, and first let me say I am so happy to be here, so happy that I woke up this morning. So I'll give you a few moments for you to give thanks for just seeing another day. Today I was inspired to talk about masturbation. I've been touted media's #1 big sister, and I felt that it was my duty and obligation to put this message out there in case there are any of my younger sisters out there that don't know this yet, because I know that it took me quite some time to learn this myself. So today we're going to talk about why every woman needs to masturbate, and if you haven't, why you really should. So if talking about masturbation is something that makes you feel a little uncomfortable, I'm going to drop the intro in a moment, and you can take a few moments to leave the video. And if talking about penis or vagina or anything like that makes you uncomfortable, you can also take a few moments and find your way out of the video. And if by any chance you happen to be offended by my little bit of décolletage, I will also give you a few moments to make your way out of the video, because part of the lie that we have been told as women for millennia is that you cannot be both sexy and intelligent, and that if you are sexy or sexual, that you have diminished your worth, that you don't have much worth, or that your only worth will be that which is sexual. So if you're going to watch this video, you are going to be forced to listen to me speak intelligently and have to look at my beautiful, bubblicious, bountiful bubbkins. Okay, so we're going to get right into the video. Let me drop the intro and then we'll get right on it. Tanya TKO in a moment. Point number 1. Let's just start off by saying this. Vagina is not a gift. And I know that's going to hurt some of you to hear that, but this rationale is part of what keeps you psychologically enslaved to the physical, part of what keeps you lazy from developing yourself as a human being, from developing and nurturing your real gifts, or going out there to search for your real gifts. There's this huge epidemic, this large problem going around from society to society, where women think that their vagina is a gift, so much so that they, number one, we're going to talk about this a little later in the video, feel as if their vagina has been taken from them when they consensually have intercourse with another person, and the emotions or feelings or relationship is not returned to them. See, when you give a person a gift, you know what? Let's stop right now and define gift. A gift is something that you give away for the pleasure of somebody else. Something that you do not ask for back, and something which you cannot get back. It's something that you gift to another person, that you take from yourself and you give to someone else at the detriment of you not having it anymore. So let's just start from that premise right there. So many women are entering out there onto the dating market thinking that their vagina is the gift that they're bringing into a relationship. Let's talk about once you're in the relationship as well. Thinking that your vagina is a gift is also what keeps some of you ladies mentally lazy from thinking about getting your partner a real present, so much so that when anniversaries or birthdays or whatever it is rolls around, that you feel that, okay, I'm going to give this person some intercourse instead of going out there and getting a real gift. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the next point. Part of thinking that vagina is a gift is what has many of us ladies feeling as if there was something taken from us when we enter into a consensual sexual relationship, or when we enter into a consensual sexual exchange with another person and we didn't get what it was that we expected back in return, whether that's a relationship or whether that's attention, love, etc. And you know what? A lot of us women use our vaginas, dangling it as bait, as if it's this shiny thing that we dangle it and we're supposed to get something in exchange for it. And I remember I got into a lot of trouble when I made that video about the 10 things wrong with Steve Harvey and the things that he was talking about that woman when she did her sexual tape, and he was giving a lot of dysfunctional ideas about how vagina is a gift, women were not made for sex, how going on talking about, and then at the very end He says that vagina, that you're sitting on a gold mine down there, and that you need to get something in exchange for that gold mine. And you know what? Let's talk about getting something in exchange for your vagina. There's some people who feel that there's this virtuousness to exchanging your vagina in exchange for a marriage certificate, but anything less than that is less virtuous. But you know what? I read this book about pimping. And in this book, the author said something that was really profound, and I've been changed ever since I read this. He basically talked about how parents were the biggest pimps that there were, because parents sell their daughter's virginity, they sell their daughter's sex in exchange for a marriage certificate for that daughter. And there are many people in a lot of religious communities who find a certain virtuousness to selling your vagina in exchange for that piece of paper. And when you sell your vagina for anything, it's still something being sold. So you could sell your vagina in exchange for a marriage certificate. You could try to sell your vagina in exchange for attention, for relationship, for more phone calls, for dinner, and for money, or for pleasure. A lot of insecure men out there would love to pummel into your mind that vagina is a gift and that vagina is your most precious gift. There are a lot of imbalances that go around in our society which actually have brainwashed men into downplaying their own worth so that they think that vagina is the gift, and I guess that they're just, I don't know, that they just give up themselves into this sexual exchange where they feel as if they've come away with something from this young lady, when, listen, vagina is yours, and when you finish with the act, you still walk away with your vagina. We're going to talk about some of the chemical differences between men and women and why the exchange sometimes feels imbalanced, but we'll get into that later on. Life is the gift. Does sex feel good? Does vagina feel amazing? Is there paradise between a woman's legs? Yes, of course. But that's not the real gift. Life is the gift. Being able to feel is the gift. Your heart is the gift. Your energy, your essence, that's the real gift. Being able to feel and being able to touch this person and being able, you know what? Sex in and of itself is a gift. See, too many of us women are sitting around thinking that sex is something that we give to another person so that we don't really expect anything in exchange for it. And this is why 70% of women out there have never had a vaginal orgasm, and why they feel that that's all right, and why there are men out there who feel that that's okay too, because they're like, oh, well, you know, her orgasm wasn't really what this was all about. This was all about me and my pleasure and about me jumping into it. And if you have a man like that is not concerned about your pleasure, you need to leave that exchange, because that is a draining exchange. Sex is an amazingly powerful tool given to us by the Most High, where you can really connect your energy with another person's energy. Ladies, we have such an amazing position as being women. My God, my God. We get to take a man into our bodies. We get to bring him into our essence and combine energies with him and wrap us around in the mix of our auras. Oh my God, we have such an amazing position here as women, but unfortunately we lose our power when we think of sex as something that we give away. And this stops us from being able to really look for a man who can give us something in exchange, who has something equal to be able to exchange with us, for us, so that we find somebody who is an energetic and vibrational match for us, so that we are there on the ethereal plane together, able to enter into one another. Gosh, you know what? Point number 3, you are not supposed to be a martyr to sex, so that you give it away and that you're like, oh, I've given him my vagina. He should be happy and he should give me what it is that I want or demand in exchange for that. And you know what? I'm going to tell you ladies a secret that I know because I'm a woman, what some of you ladies are out there doing and how you're playing yourself and setting yourselves up for defeat. because you see that a man is not really truly fully interested in you as a person. You see that you two are not really vibing very well, and you see that you two are not a good match. And you get some of his attention in the very beginning. He starts to kind of wane away a little bit, and then what you do is you start to play the only hand that you think that you have. You know, the idea of this makes me want to cry. Because if only you knew how beautiful and how amazing you are, and how you have so much more to offer than your body. So that when a man starts to pull away, you say, oh, how do I get him back? Oh, I know men love vagina, and I have a vagina, so therefore I'll offer it to bring him or to reel him back in. And then when you're dangling your sex and your sexuality and your vagina, you're dangling this carrot, and then he takes the bite and he gives into that situation what it was that you were giving. You gave up vagina in exchange for his penis. And to him that was an equal exchange. But to you, you gave up your vagina in exchange for attention. Tell me, I'm going to ask you, do you think that you should give up your vagina in exchange for attention? Do you think you should give up your vagina in exchange for a person calling you on the phone? Do you think you should give up your vagina in exchange for a person taking you out on dates? And I'm here to tell you no. Remember when I said that thinking of vagina as a gift is part of what makes you very lazy? Because it stops you from cultivating your mind. It stops you from cultivating your spirit. It stops you from cultivating your personality. It stops you from cultivating your hobbies and really getting to know yourself as a woman and what your true gifts are. Don't dangle sex out there as something that you're giving to another person for their pleasure in exchange for something that you're hoping for. Because the only thing that you get in that type of barter is penis. And if penis is not something, the only thing that you want in exchange, then you're going to have to think about perhaps giving up your attention in exchange for attention. And if you're not getting attention back, find yourself someplace else. We're going to talk in We're going to talk in point 6 about men and the type of men that you're choosing. Point 4, masturbation. This is what this whole video is about. Ladies, I want for you to masturbate. You know, I remember the first time that I came into contact with the idea that sex was supposed to feel good for women. I was stunned. Because I was of the impression that sex was something that men enjoyed, and that was something that women and that girls gave up for the pleasure of men and boys. And that is not so. Sex should feel good for you. You do yourself and you do your partner a wonderful service when you enter into that relationship knowing what it is that you like physically and sexually. You know, in essence, what many women do is we've been taught for so long that women are not supposed to be sexual beings. We've been taught to suppress our sexuality, that so many things about us are bad. You'd be surprised how many women come to my videos, and you know, a lot of these people who say this stuff, a lot of the people who in turn hold other women down are other women who are afraid of other women expressing their sexuality because they don't understand the bond. Hear me. They don't understand the bond that they have with their own man. Some of them are not strengthening the bond that they have with their own man, so that they look out there at women who are being sexual, and women who are expressing their sexuality, and women who are comfortable with their sexuality. And they think of that as a threat because they went into their relationship with their men thinking that sex was the grandest thing that they had to offer. So therefore, when they look around at all these other girls out there who also have vaginas, I mean, how do you compete in a world full of vaginas? Half of the population is female. How do you compete if the only thing that you're bringing into your relationship is your vagina? How do you compete with every other woman that has vagina? Tighter vagina, younger vagina, wider vagina, deeper vagina. white vagina, black vagina, pink vagina, yellow vagina, straight hair vagina, curly hair vagina, tight, tight, boom, boom, loose, loose, boom, boom, where you can stab and get in all different angles inside of it. How do you compete? You see, so women are now instrumental in holding down other women. You'd be surprised at the amount of women who come to my videos telling me that they don't want to listen to me. You'd be surprised at the amount of women who come to my video and they tell me how they don't want to listen to me. They don't want to watch my videos because my cleavage. Because I have cleavage. Discriminating against me because of the size of my bosom. Because if I had flatter bosom, they wouldn't be so bulbous. They wouldn't be so pumped up. If they were smaller, they would be more comfortable for other people because then it wouldn't be poking folks in the eye. So the women won't have to be like, honey, you better not look over there. Because they're so afraid because they don't feel that what they have inside their relationship is bond enough to be able to stop their man from going out there to be with somebody else. So that the security of their home and the livelihood of their life is all dependent on other women not being able to be sexy in front of their man. And that's a very dangerous and very sad place to be. Very sad. And a lot of those women have a lot of issues with their own sexuality. And if anything is going to send your man out there in the street, it's going to be these hang-ups that you have. Because I can trust and believe if you're out there talking about how I shouldn't be showing my cleavage, baby, you're not showing enough of yours to your man. Because if your man is going to leave you over seeing somebody's bosoms, there's something wrong in your relationship to begin with. I don't know how I got on that tangent, but let's go back. In terms of masturbation, you need to know how you like it, what position you like it from, what turns you on, what arouses you, what you don't like, what keeps you wet, and what makes you dry. You know, I'll tell you a little bit about myself because it took me some time to learn this. And you know what? Essentially, what we end up doing is we end up going to these sexual exchanges and we expect to just open it up and just let him figure it out on the inside. And I'm telling you that sex is something that's supposed to feel good for both of you. And don't expect, you know what, there's so many different things going on inside of a woman. Every woman has a different elasticity, a different depth. Some women's uteruses Some women's uteruses are anteverted, retroverted. The uterus is pointed in different directions. So some women like doggy style. Some women like missionary. Some women like crisscross, and so many different things. You know, and it took me quite some time to realize what it is that I like, and it takes some trial and error. So if you masturbate and if you get yourself a dildo or a tool to be able to place inside of yourself so that you can see whether you like it poking to the left or poking to the right or going straight in, or long strokes or shallow bumping strokes, or getting in there real deep and grinding, you have to kind of figure out what it is, which direction it is that you like to go with your intercourse. I'll tell you a little bit about me, because this is the wide variety and wide flavor that's available to us as women. Me, I like a lot of foreplay. And you know, for a lot of women, foreplay starts outside of the bedroom. Foreplay starts with how this man interacts with your mind. Foreplay starts with the things that he's doing around the home. Foreplay starts with, foreplay starts with you feeling secure. Some women feel secure by knowing that their man has lots of money. Some people feel secure by knowing that their man takes care of them. Some women feel secure by knowing that their man can take care of house and home if need be. Other women feel secure if they know that their man can beat people up if she needs him to. Some women feel secure if their man is there for them emotionally. You know, you have to figure out what it is that makes you feel whole and complete in this relationship. For me, I like feeling secure. I like knowing that I can talk to my partner about anything and that we can get into some really deep exchanges. If you want to get deep inside of me, let's start by first talking. I can't have good sex with someone I can't have good conversations with. Let's start by exchanging first. Because you know what, I talk to some of you ladies and I'm like, oh, he want to get in there, but he doesn't want to get in here, or he doesn't want to answer questions. He doesn't want you all up in his business, but he wants to get up all up inside your business. You have to realize as a woman, as a young lady, if that is something that is all right for you. Do you feel comfortable with letting a person up inside there and you haven't had the necessary conversations, or you don't vibe on a mental level or on a spiritual level or on a metaphysical level? If you don't vibe that way, and you listen, there's so many different types of women out there, so many different types of men, so many different types of sex. You have to realize what it is that you like. Me personally, I like a lot of foreplay. And for me, foreplay starts before we get into the bedroom. The actual particulars of it inside the bedroom are, you know, between me and my man. I'll keep that personal. But I also like very short, shallow, bumping strokes. I don't like that running all the way from across the room and jumping and diving and then running all the way and then jumping. Okay, that's a bit exaggerated, but I don't like long stroke. That drives me out. It dries out my vagina. I like being really close to my man physically. Feeling that body heat is something that really, it opens me. Feeling the heat of his body, just being connected in that way is something that really opens me. Touching our chakras, putting his heart chakra near my heart chakra and aligning our chakras is something that really, aligning our chakras is something that really takes me to the next level, you know, and so those are the basics of it. So you as a woman, you have to know whether or not you like the smaller penises or the larger ones or the wider ones or the fatter ones, whether you like it poking to the left or the right, or so many different things. As a woman, you have to kind of figure out what it is that you like. There's so many different ways, so many different positions. If you like doggy, or if you like to ride, or if you like to grind, or if you like to jump up and down on it, you have to kind of figure out what it is that you like, and you have to match yourself up with a man who likes that too. This is why, you know, this is why a lot of insecure men would love for their women to be virgins when they marry. Insecure men who don't want their women to know what it is that they like sexually, because he doesn't really know that he has what it takes to be able to be the best that she's ever had. And something like that really messes with a man's mind, because he's too lazy to fully explore what it is that he would be able to do physically. If you think about the task that men have, you know, it's like they have this appendage hanging off of their body. Okay, so they have this appendage, here they go. They have this appendage hanging off of their body, and they have to use this appendage to be able to enter inside your body with it and be able to use, it's not like it's a hand. You know, it's like it's a thing hanging off of him, and he has to get in there and know just the right way to poke. And I'm going too far. Please don't look at my visual example. I know I went too far. But if you really think about the task that men have, you know, they have to be able to bring you to orgasm and bring you to pleasure using this appendage and their hands. And, you know, they're already much larger than you, and the feeling for them is different. And they really have a lot of things going on inside their mind, because a good man wants to bring you pleasure. So make it easy for him by knowing what it is that you like, so that you could be like, oh, you know what, baby, I really need you to get in there. Or, you know what, baby, I really need you to run back and ram in and run back and ram. Whatever it is that you like. Some people like that hard, and sometimes, and then different times will be different for each person. Sometimes you like it hard and fast. Sometimes you like it grind into some slow music and stuff. So, you know, so you have to know what it is that you like, and then it'll vary from time to time. But sex is something that's supposed to be fun. Sex is the gift. Sex is the gift. So now we get into part, oh wow. Sex is the gift. So now we get into part 5. And I want you ladies to please keep in mind that you secrete oxytocin. When you climax, after intercourse, you secrete oxytocin at a rate 5 times greater than that of men. So, and oxytocin is the binding chemical. And don't feel bad at yourself for having oxytocin, because if you didn't have oxytocin, you most likely wouldn't be here. Part of the, and I love evolutionary biology, how we have evolved as people. The women who did not produce oxytocin were not bound to their children. So they left their children out in the forest. They didn't come back for them. They pushed them out and was like, this creature screaming and crying, him, leave this creature. And they didn't feel bound to their children. So the babies who did survive were the babies who were of the mothers who produced more oxytocin. Less oxytocin, the less chances for your survival. So be grateful that you have oxytocin. Be grateful that you're here. Oxytocin is an amazing, amazing chemical. And men do produce oxytocin too. So the more you have intercourse with a person, yes, the more you will feel bound to this person. But I know that life, that sharing, that your heart is the real gift, because I know for a fact that you can feel just as bound to a person whom you've never had intercourse with by just, if you feel that person with your spirit, if you feel that person with your soul, you never even have to touch them physically, and you will feel a connection to them unlike any other. And then there are other people you can have intercourse with and never feel a connection to. Everything really all depends. So get to know yourself as a woman. Know that you do have oxytocin, and know that oxytocin is something that is going to make you feel bound to your mate, to your sexual mate. So don't just go out there having intercourse willy-nilly, because you will begin to develop feelings for that person. It's inevitable. And it's something that helps keep the species and the population going. And part number 6, we're at the end of the video now, where we're going to talk about why some women feel like they've lost something when they've had intercourse with a person and it doesn't turn out how they had hoped. You see, it starts from very young, when people have this term, lose your virginity, whereas if you've lost something to this other person, and it's been pummeled in our minds over and over by religion and religious doctrine that a woman needs to be pure, and a woman needs to remain untouched, and a woman needs to be a virgin, and a woman needs to know of no other man, and all this other stuff. And you know, it's like we live in a culture which congratulates men for having more sexual partners, but bashes the women who have intercourse with them. And you know, this disparity, we really need to get this to change. So we need to be the change that we want to see in the world. Part of the reason that many women feel like they've had something taken from them when they enter into these exchanges is because, number one, the relationship was not set up the way that it needed to be set up before you entered into that sexual exchange. And there was some lack of communication going on about why you two were entering into this sexual relationship to begin with. Number two, you didn't get what it was that you needed to receive physically. You didn't climax. You felt cheated by the exchange. So therefore, when this person climaxed and went off and just left you there with no climax, you felt like you had had something taken from you. 3, you expected something in exchange for that besides intercourse, and you never communicated that up front. And number 4, you never really took the time to really feel this man and choose this man. Watch my videos, the 6 ways to choose a man, and find a man who you vibe with on that level. I'm going to say this, and I want you to hear me, and hear me very well. Your vagina is not the best part of you. It is not. There's so much more to you that's so much better, so much richer, so much deeper than your vagina. You have your personality, you have your spirit, you have your essence, you have that thing, that life force, that thing that makes you uniquely you, your soul. Each individual is different. But when you have like a soul connection to another person, and you feel this person and this person feels you, and you vibe on a certain level, that's it right there. That's the magic ticket right there. But you see, some of you are not choosing your men correctly. And you're entering into these sexual relationships with a man who does not have anything but sex to give. Oh gosh. I don't want to say it this way, But some of you are trying to trap men with sex, men who are in no position to offer you anything more than that, men who are students, men who are in between jobs, men who are in relationships with other people, men who are not in a space and a capacity to be able to be there for you in the way that you need him to be there. And 5, men who have explicitly told you that they do not want anything else except sex, but yet you still try to use sex to manipulate him into a relationship. And you have to realize, and watch my video, the 5 best times to catch a husband, because at different points in a different man's life, he's going to be open and available to different things. When a man is in a stage in his life where he is just using vagina as a human masturbatory sleeve, because maybe masturbating inside of a woman is better than masturbating in his hand. When you begin to masturbate and you feel the different feel that you know that you can provide to yourself, and you compare that to a hot penis, to a hot shaft connected to a large, muscular, strong body, or a thin, slim body, however you like it, I don't know. You know, when you think about the difference between those two, of course, it's so much better with a human being where you can feel their essence and their vibration. But some men are just not in a space to be able to give you a relationship or give you more than that. And you need to be very aware and very cognizant of what it is that you're doing, so that you don't feel like someone has taken something from you when you knew from very early on up front that that was all that he had to give, just by even looking at his life. Talking to him. I find that most men don't even have to lie nowadays. They tell you the truth and you don't believe them. They're like, look, I don't want a girlfriend. See, there's a trick going on and you've been lied to. God, you've been lied to. You've been lied to that relationships are something that women want and men don't, so that you're not expecting a man out there to want a relationship. And I'm telling you, when a man is in the right space in his life, he will actively seek a relationship. It is a tremendous warning sign when that man is like, I do not want a relationship right now. Remember, you know what? Someone called her to my show and she was like, she can't get this man to commit. That's part of the problem right there. You cannot get another person to commit. You can't. It's like you have to align yourself with a man who is ready for what it is that you're bringing, so that we've been taught as girls, we've been taught as women and young ladies that we need to go out there and manipulate a man and trap him into wanting to love us. Imagine that you're so horrid as a human being that nobody would want to be with you for who it is that you really are, so that you have to trap him into being in a relationship with you? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you serious? Last thing you want to do is go get this is why there's so many doggone baby mamas and all this drama going on out there, because you got yourself with a man who was not in a space in his life to be able to take care of children, to even want a relationship, yet you went into it anyway and you came out with nothing but hard penis and bubble gum, and you didn't even need the bubble gum. Trust me, men are pursuers. When it's the right time for them, you won't have to convince him to be in a relationship with you. He will feel you. He will feel your essence. He will feel your heart, and he will know that that's the direction that he wants to go in, because there's something about you that makes his life better than it is without you. But remember, you need to cultivate yourself, and you need to get to know yourself as a woman and as a human being, so that the only thing you're bringing into that relationship is not just a little piece of vagina that half the population has. No. Good sex can't keep a man. It can't. There has to be more about you. There was one time that I felt that I had been used for my vagina. And I had to sit there and I had an epiphany. I did. Because I had to think about what it was that had really transpired. I entered into intercourse with a person, and I had climaxed, several times. I did. Oh my goodness. And he had climaxed several times. And as I sat there thinking about if vagina was all that he wanted from me, that he was a very short-sighted individual. Because I know when I look at the bulk and the culmination of everything that I am, I know that I have so much more to offer than vagina. And if this person was, listen, my gosh, I have lived such an amazing life. I'm world traveled. I speak several languages. I have been to 26 countries around the world and back. I'm a business owner. I am very educated. I'm eloquent. I'm empathic, and I am a soul in human form. I am an amazing person, I know. So if there is some fool, if you think about it, right? If a person sees you in all of your magnanimous glory and all it is that you have to offer, and all they want is a little piece, a little flap down in the front, you have to realize that this person was short-sighted. This person had low aspirations because they left the whole entire, that's like eating the crust of the pizza and leaving the whole part of the pizza in the middle. Think about it. Think about it. When you know that yourself, that you have a huge amount to offer a partner, that you'll make an amazing mother, that you'll make an amazing girlfriend or wife, when you know that you're caring and nurturing, you have a big heart, and you have a lot to offer, and that person only wants a tiny little piece of flesh from the inside, you know that that person had low dreams and low hopes. They didn't want much. And that's probably because they didn't have much to offer. That's a person who doesn't value themselves. That's a man who is not on a higher level as a man. Because a man who's on a higher level understands the power in his seed. He understands the power of himself as a human being. He just doesn't give that out willy-nilly. Trust me, I know, because not every man out there is a horn dog going around humping on every leg that they can hump on. Every man is not like that. Find a man who is higher, on a higher level. Find a man who can meet you at your vibration. You see, because a man who is still running around doing all that other stuff because he's not right in his life. His life is not where he needs to be. He doesn't have much to offer you, himself, a child, and you leave him and you let him find himself, and you go find yourself another man. You go ahead and find yourself somebody else, because when the right man is right, you will not have to force him, you will not have to trick him, you will not have to convince him. He will be there and he will pursue you. You don't see the flowers uprooting and jumping after the bees. You don't see that. You see the flower resting in its full feminine glory, letting its fragrance out into the world with its colors shining, baby. You do. And the bees approach it. Now imagine the flip case of that, or the flip scenario. Imagine the flower jumping after the bee, and then the bee is like, okay, I'll poke you. And then the bee pokes the flower. And then the bee goes and flies off. And then you're like, what happened? You were supposed to jump. But then the bee never came to pursue you in the first place. The bee never came to pursue you. And you know what? I'm gonna leave here on one last note, because I know that there are men out there who try to trick women, try to lie, etc., in exchange for intercourse. And I know that that's going to be one thought that people are going to have out there. But please remember that that man does not value himself. He doesn't value his body. He doesn't value his essence. He doesn't value his seed. And he was not the right man for you. You go on and you find somebody else. He's not in a space to be able to be the type of man that you need. So learning up front and learning early and easy is good. Thank your guardian angels for getting him out of your life so that you can make room for the next person, and then take some time to really truly feel that person. And that person that I thought, that I said, that I felt that this person had used me for intercourse, we had a huge disagreement. And it was true. He was not in the right place where he wanted and needed to be able to be more than what it was that we had. And I realized that he had not used me. We'd used each other. I had had such an amazing time during that. Oh, goodness. And we have actually and we have actually gone on to have intercourse a few more times after that. And it has always been amazing. This is a person that I feel on a soul level. And I don't expect more than that. I don't. And I don't know. Listen, I don't know what it is. And you know what the thing is, when you own your sexuality as a woman, instead of giving the power to somebody else, you have that power yourself. And that's one of the most frightening things. I believe that a woman's sexuality is one of the most frightening forces on earth. This is why people try to stump it and squelch it and douse it so much. Why religions bash against it. And why, you know what, I'm not going to go into the full details, but why it is that in the Bible there's so many horrible stories about a woman who is up on her sexuality, and why in order for marriage to have given birth, that they had to make it seem as if she had never had intercourse before, even though she had been married for quite some time before Jesus was conceived. And then there's some historical doubt about whether or not Jesus ever walked, and why, you know, the religion really feels very badly about sex and sexuality. That's why they try to make it seem as if Jesus was asexual, when there's certain texts that said that he was not, and that he had a woman. And it's like they try to take away the virtuousness from sex, the beauty of sex. I bought this book called Finding God Through Sex. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I can't wait to get into that. But take some time to own and get to know your body, get to know your sexuality. Own yourself. Instead of letting people own little pieces of you, own yourself. And this is part of the reason that they cut off the genitalia. You know, some people who will claim to be religious will also cut off the genitalia. Listen, sex was meant to feel good. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had parts that feel good when they touch one another. So get into that. Bask in that. Come to my website, which you see right here, TanyaTKO.com. You'll find all of my links for social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all over the net. Come over, join my mailing list there, so you will always know when I put up a new video. You can also catch me live every Wednesdays on my website, TanyaTKO.com/live. Just click on the live button, and I do a live advice hour every Wednesdays. So if you want to catch that's open and available to you. I call it an hour, but we actually do 2 hours. So you can call up and get your questions answered live. Remember, that's Tanya with an O, Tony. Hug me, hug me, hug me, hug me. Oh, I love you all so very much. I love you all. Oh. Now, oops. Now, go out there and love one another. But most importantly, what? Love yourself. And remember, go masturbate. Tanya TKO, and I'm out. Peace. Remember, you can't expect anybody to know how to love you if you don't know how to love yourself. Pun intended.